You've asked yourself the same question over and over. Why did I stay? Why didn't I see it sooner? Why didn't I leave? I want you to stop holding your breath and hear this. It was never your fault. You stayed because you loved deeply, because you believed the best in people, because you were taught that loyalty was the same as faith. They told you that silence was holy, that questioning was rebellion. They used the language of God to build a cage around your soul. When you felt uneasy, you prayed harder. When you felt confused, you doubted yourself instead of them. They taught you to trust their voice more than your own God-given discernment. When they twisted scripture to make you feel small, you thought maybe they were right. And when you wanted to speak, shame covered your mouth like a heavy hand. They made you believe your endurance was proof of your faith. But it wasn't weakness that kept you there. It was hope. Hope that love could change them. Hope that God would see your suffering and reward it. But the one who calls himself gentle and humble in heart has never required this of you. He said, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Rest, not chains. Love, not fear. You stayed because you were lied to. You stayed because you were taught that suffering was holiness. You stayed because your hope was stronger than their cruelty. And none of that makes you foolish. It makes you someone who longs for what is good and true. So hear me clearly. It was not your fault. You were not wrong for loving. You were not wrong for hoping. And you are not wrong for wanting freedom now. The God who sees you has never confused obedience with abuse. And he has never called his daughters to serve a false version of him. You are free to leave. And you are still loved. There is a reason it felt so hard to leave. Because the one who hurt you didn't just use power. They used God's name. They twisted scripture to silence you. They told you, "Touch not the Lord's anointed." They told you submission was the proof of your faith. They told you that speaking up was rebellion, that leaving was betrayal. And because you loved God, you believed them. A narcissistic leader doesn't just want control. They want to shape your reality. They will call their voice God's voice. They will say loyalty to them is loyalty to him. And when you feel the weight of their control, you will think it is the cross you are called to carry. But this is the lie. The cross of Jesus was never meant to make you small. It was never meant to make you afraid. He said the greatest among you will be a servant, not a tyrant. He said his burden is light, not crushing. But they turned his words into a weapon. They shamed you for questioning. They made you feel like your pain was a lack of faith. You didn't stay because you were weak. You stayed because your heart was built for love. Because you saw glimpses of kindness in them and believed those glimpses were the truth. Because every moment of harm was followed by just enough tenderness to make you hope again. This is what they count on. The cycle of harm, then comfort, the wound, then the apology that never really changes anything. It's called trauma bonding. Your nervous system learned to hold on to the tiny crumbs of affection, hoping they would one day become real love. And when they told you it was your fault, you believed maybe if you tried harder, prayed harder, forgave more, it would get better. Hope kept you there. Not foolish hope. Sacred hope. The hope that the God who changes hearts could change theirs. The hope that if you endured, it would finally mean something. And because you loved God, you thought suffering was what he asked of you. But listen to me. Endurance in the face of abuse is not what God calls holy. Suffering is not proof of your faith. Jesus never asked you to prove your love for him by staying with someone who destroys you. The same one who healed the broken, who set the captives free, who defended the vulnerable. He has never called you to confuse harm with holiness. You also stayed because you doubted yourself. They made you question your memory. They made you believe your feelings were wrong. They made you think you couldn't survive without them. This is what manipulation does. It makes you forget who you really are. But you are not lost. God has never forgotten you. Even in the silence, even in the nights you cried, Even in the moments you thought he didn't see. He was there. He still sees you. And he is not ashamed of you for staying. He is proud of you for surviving. You are not weak. You are a woman who was deeply faithful, even when faith was used against you. And now, God is leading you into a love that doesn't harm. You have carried questions like heavy stones. Did I fail God by leaving? Did I do enough to make it work? Am I broken because I stayed so long? I want you to hear me now. You have not failed God. You cannot fail the one who already knows your story from beginning to end. You are not broken. You are beloved. The one who made you has never confused abuse with loyalty. He has never asked his daughters to kneel before false shepherds. He said, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them." And his voice has never sounded like fear. His voice has never demanded your silence. His voice has never pushed you to carry what crushes your soul. You are free to lay it down. You are free to walk away from the voices that twisted love into control. You are free to release the shame that was never yours to hold. Because the love of God is not a cage. It is not a test. It is a home. It is rest for your weary heart. And yes, healing will take time. There may be moments when the old words echo in your mind. There may be days when you wonder if you made the right choice. But every step you take away from harm is a step toward the God who has always been with you. You are not leaving him. You are leaving what misrepresented him. And he is not angry. He is glad you are coming closer to the truth of his heart. So breathe again. You are not guilty. You are not beyond repair. You are not defined by the years you stayed. You are defined by the one who calls you his. And in his presence, you are safe. In his love, you are whole. In his arms, you are free. You stayed because you believed. And now you leave because you are loved. If these words have met you in your pain, if they have reminded you that you are seen, if they have given you even a moment of peace, then I want to invite you to walk with me a little further. This space was created for you, for the woman who was silenced, for the woman who was told her worth was small, for the woman still trying to remember what God's love truly feels like. There are so many others still sitting where you once sat, still wondering if freedom is even possible. Together, we can keep the light on for them. Together, we can make sure no woman has to heal alone. If you feel led, you can help keep this space open by sharing this message, leaving a comment to remind another woman she's not alone, and subscribing so this circle of healing grows. And if you want to go even further, you can support this ministry and help keep these teachings free by visiting Ko-fi.com/spiritual healing coach. Every prayer, every kind word, every small gift helps this channel remain a place of refuge for the brokenhearted. It helps us reach the women still trapped in silence. But hear me clearly. There is no demand here. Your worth is not measured by what you give. You are loved because you are his, not because of what you do. So take what you need from this space, leave what you cannot carry, and if you are able, help me keep the door open for the next woman who walks in, still holding her breath, still wondering if there is hope. Together, we can tell her the truth. It was never her fault. She is not alone. And she is still deeply loved by God.